Hi there, it's Mr. Clark. Welcome to Lesson 2.1.4 on half steps and the chromatic scale. So, um, again, we're talking in reference to the piano keyboard, and two piano keys that are directly next to each other, regardless of color, are said to be a half step apart. So, there are some examples here. C to C sharp, also known as C to D flat, because those are equivalent. C sharp and D flat are enharmonic. So C to C sharp is a half step because those keys are directly next to each other. If you go from F to G, that is not a half step because there's this black key in the middle. Not going to work. B to C, these two white keys are right next to each other. There's nothing in the middle, so that is a half step. So, yet another reason to have the piano keyboard in mind at all times. It's easy if you're looking at it here, but if you're looking at it just on a staff, you might have to think, wait, are B and C right next to each other? You just want to be able to know that immediately. So when you have two notes right next to each other, they sound a specific way. Da, 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 da. And actually, if you think of the theme from John Williams' Jaws, da, dum, da, dum, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, da. That's a half step. So that's the sound that we are thinking about. And now every time you think about half steps, you will think about sharks. You are welcome. So then, that's half of what we're looking at. We looked at half steps, and then the chromatic scale. A scale is just an ordered collection of notes, and we're going to look at a variety of scale types, and there will be some extra modules on other scale types that we're not going to worry about in this main sequence. The word chromatic means colorful. It originally comes from ancient Greek music theory, where it means something entirely different. European musicians found a lot of treatises on ancient Greek music, but didn't really fully understand them before just appropriating the terms to mean different things. That happens a lot of different times throughout music. So, chromatic meant something to the ancient Greeks, means something totally different now. Here, it means a scale that consists entirely of half steps. So, starting on a C, da 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 da, and it can come back down. Da 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 da. My pitch wasn't super there. We're not going to worry about singing chromatic scales at this point because singing consecutive half steps is actually surprisingly difficult, but that's the general sort of sound that you would expect to hear. Scales can be ascending or descending. These are English words that mean exactly what they normally mean in English. Ascending means going up, descending means going down. And you'll notice that when we're going up, we use sharps. When we're going down, we use flats. This is what we were talking about a couple lessons ago, or actually the previous lesson, where if the next note is higher, you want to use a sharp. If the next note is lower, you want to use a flat. That's just easier to read and play. This is what would happen if you just arbitrarily chose a sharp or flat each time. This is, if you play it on a piano, it sounds exactly the same, but this one is a lot harder to read and process. Having a flat, a natural, and a sharp of the same note all in succession is a terrible thing that should be avoided at all costs. I feel like I've seen it once or twice where it was actually needed, but most of the time, there are much better ways to write it that are cleaner. So, that is what a chromatic scale is, and this is where you really need to know what your keyboard looks like so that you make sure you don't accidentally write an E sharp, and an F, because E sharp and F are the same thing, and you don't want two of the same note. So, that's what we got for this lesson, and I will see you next time.